Greetings to all of you from this my country, the Republic of India. On this particular Republic Day of India of the Gregorian year 2022. And it is about 8:40 p.m. or almost 20 to 9 in the evening here in my country on this Wednesday, the 26th of January of the Gregorian year 2022. To my utter regrets, my greetings to my fellow global citizens of and or residing in Australia is perhaps coming a little too late on this also Australia Day. But I want to assure all my friends in and of Australia that my greetings to them are being extended from the very core of my heart with all due respect, indeed with all due regards. One of the main reasons why I also crave leave to extend my greetings to my fellow global citizens in and or of Australia is also significant because Australia, along with my native country, India, Japan, and the United States of America, are also in alliance with each other known as Quadra Alliance, which is of considerable, great, indeed of desirable significance at this very moment when various countries of the world are trying to extend their dictatorial or even tyrannical influence to various democratic countries of the world. Although my knowledge of history is considerably poor, as also is my command of Greek and Latin, again, to my utter regrets, considerably lacking and poor. Yet to the best of my understanding, if I'm not wrong, of course, Athens, which is currently also, if I'm not wrong, the very capital of Greece, was one of those places which initially recognized the significance of democracy or people's rule, if I'm not wrong. And again, regretting my poor command of Latin, I also crave leave to reiterate what I said earlier on another occasion, that to the best of my understanding, the word republic, the noun republic, is derived from two words, namely res and republica, also derived from republicum in subjective noun. So democracy, which if I understood the expression correctly, means people's rule, and republic or res publica are quite interchangeable, befitting the current systems of a democratic world, even in a republic. Indeed, while referring to so-called Quadra alliance, I also extend my most cordial, heartfelt, respectful and sincere greetings to my fellow global citizens of the Empire of Japan, and no doubt the citizens of the United States of America, one of the first, if I'm not wrong, the very first country perhaps, which founded its system on its written constitution, perhaps the oldest written constitution of the world. Indeed, our Quadra alliance has become quite significant today. And no doubt, those countries which believe in democracy may well be invited to join our alliance in strengthening our bond of democracy throughout the world. But democracy, or people's rule, or republic, ought to be based upon natural justice and equity. On another occasion, I referred to a very simple object which is found in various households, which is nothing other than a tripod or three-legged stool. And I mentioned earlier that that stool can stand without falling off onto the floor on which it rests, if that floor is smooth, and indeed if the legs of the stool are equally long or short, and weight is not put too heavily only on one side of that stool. So it is in the organs of any civilized state of the world, as even recognized by the United Nations organization. My apologies also for mispronouncing the name, as my command of French is extremely poor. But if I'm not wrong, that great philosopher who is called Montesquieu wrote his famous book elaborating and explaining the importance of the separation of powers, which triggered French Revolution, followed by revolutions in various other parts of the world. Today, in India, many people celebrated this day. No doubt, flags were hoisted, and national anthems were played or sung, and I should say played and sung, by various individuals, groups, and organizations. But in those standards of our national anthem, in fact, in the very first standard of that national anthem, it is underlined the significance of unity of people, which was initially wrote, or I should say, which were initially written by that great poet and writer Rabindranath Thakur in Bengali and Rabindranath Tagore, as it is sometimes pronounced, of Bengal in those days, whose house still lies in the capital of West Bengal today. Those words went something like this, which said initially, in order to honor the sovereign, that it goes on to say, Punjabu, Sindhu, Gujarata, Maratha, Dravida, Uchalu, Bongo. And they signified the importance of the unity of various communities of people residing in this country before it's being divided in the year 1947, when India declared herself an independent country, precisely on August the 15th of the Gregorian year 1947. But this division has breached peace for various centuries. And it becomes our duty to ensure that peace is preserved by maintaining true friendship with our neighbors, our sister countries, derived initially from the same India, which has been existing for thousands of years, even under the name Bharat, or India as the name was given by, if I'm not wrong, Alexander of Macedonia. Indeed, it becomes again significant to refer to Alexander of Macedonia, who in my view was a tyrant, and thus undermined the democracy of initial Greece, followed by the dictatorial regime of Gaius Julius Caesar, also known as Julius Caesar in English, in Rome, overriding to democracy, which cost his life by certain senators who stabbed him to death. We are called upon today in our world to fight against a common enemy, which is none other than the viral infection known as corona or COVID, even initially termed as COVID-19. In our world, we have no place today of enmity between nations when we all are confronted with the same enemy, so-called the viral infection of corona or COVID-19. Today, it is significant that we work hand in hand together against this common enemy while trying to eradicate this enemy power from our current world. We are only wise if, but only if, we recognize this fact and try to invite our fellow global nations to join us in unity fighting against this viral enemy of ours, indeed the viral enemy of all of us, the human race and other species of our current age which exist today. But at the same time, we must uphold the spirit of democracy in our country and elsewhere in the world. But such democratic power has to be based upon true and indisputable natural justice, indeed equity. We know the danger of certain democratic institutions electing certain heads in the past, which led to tyrannical oppression for their own people as well as for others. When such democratically elected individuals became vicious dictators, even tyrants. Our republic, indeed the Republic of India, is based upon and rests upon our constitution, which was promulgated 2 months prior to India's declaring herself a republic. Precisely, it was promulgated on the 26th of November of the Gregorian year 1949, followed by the Indian Republic Day 2 months later, precisely on the 26th of January of the Gregorian year 1950. The Constitution of India ensures that there is no place, no scope, no space for any discrimination. We are one people, regardless of our languages, religions, indeed beliefs and faiths, even the colors of our skin, our backgrounds, our social status or stati in plural. We are one people as Indians. And today the time has come for us to recognize us as fellow global citizens of our fellow global members, even the members of the United Nations organization and elsewhere in the world, wherever they may be, wherever those countries may be, wherever those nations may exist. It is in our interest and primary interest, and it should be so, to preserve unity among us, but also with our fellow global citizens, whom we require today as much as they require us to fight against this vicious enemy of all of us, known as viral infection caused by corona or COVID-19. Our democracy has to be based upon true and indeed impartial natural justice, which has to be functioned, if I may use the expression, between inverted or in inverted commas and speech marks, based upon 3 pillars or 3 organs known as the legislative body, which in our country is the Indian Parliament of the Union and legislative assemblies of the states of India, which has to be exercised through the instruments of administration, of public service, by public servants, or administrative servants as they are called today. And no doubt, A most important organ, according to our Constitution, is and ought to be an impartial yet honourable judiciary, which remain duty-bound to interpret the laws, even the norms, even the legislations passed by the legislative organs of our country. We must honour each other, even the organs of our state, and indeed ensure that they function properly, thanks to our coming forward in their service. I just referred to the tripod or three-leg stool, which requires a smooth floor. And we ought to be that smooth floor, the very citizens of our country, indeed, the very citizens of our current world as our fellow global citizens. I bid all of you the protection of the same Almighty who created all of us, every individual, every species of the animal kingdom, every thing that exists in the plant kingdom, and everything that is visible and invisible. While I extend my most cordial thanks with all due humility, respect, and sincerity to all of you. And thank you once again for coming forward in service of our fellow global citizens who need us, even in order to combat the common enemy known as Corona or COVID. I thank you once again from the very core of my heart while I remain at your service, and say Jai Hind.